Hello, I'm Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghannews. At least 4 armed militants stormed a police station in the heart of the capital Kabul Saturday, triggering an explosion and ongoing heavy exchange of fire, officials and witnesses said. The attackers got into the police station in the crowded main central market area close to the presidential palace, defense ministry and other official buildings. An intelligence source speaking on condition of anonymity said that 1 policeman and 1 civilian were killed and 4 police wounded. An inter-ministry source said a suicide bomber had detonated explosives strapped to his body and the others were fighting police. The Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid has claimed responsibility for the attack. This comes as the United States and other foreign powers are engaged in preliminary talks with the Taliban about a possible settlement to the near-decade-long war in Afghanistan. President Hamid Karzai told the news conference in the capital on Saturday, the first official confirmation of U.S. involvement in negotiations. Diplomats have already said there have been months of preliminary talks between the two sides, and Karzai has long said Afghans are in contact with insurgent groups. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul declined immediate comment. Karzai was speaking the day after the UN Security Council split the UN sanctions list for Taliban and Al-Qaeda figures into 2. The United Nations Security Council has voted unanimously to have separate sanctions for Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Friday's vote delays joint sanctions that had been imposed by the UN for more than 12 years. There are currently 138 people associated with the Taliban and 254 others associated with Al-Qaeda on the UN sanction list who cannot travel or hold assets outside Afghanistan. The move comes as Washington prepares to start pulling out its 100,000 troops in Afghanistan next month, as part of a process to hand over all combat operations against Taliban insurgents to Afghan security forces by 2014. Insurgents attacked 3 convoys ferrying fuel and supplies to NATO troops stationed in western and eastern Afghanistan, killing 9 Afghan security guards and torching at least 15 fuel tankers. 2 of the attacks on the supply convoys took place in the eastern Ghazni province, where a pair of roadside bombs killed 4 Afghan security guards and wounded 4 more, escorting the trucks to a nearby base for Polish troops, said Provincial Police Chief Muhammad Hossain. Insurgents also ambushed a NATO fuel convoy last night along the border between Herat and Farah provinces in the west, killing 5 Afghan guards. 7 other guards were wounded in the attack after insurgents opened fire on the convoy, said Abdul Rashid. A local police chief. Insurgents later set fire to 15 fuel tankers. Meanwhile, NATO said its forces killed several insurgents in a gun battle a day earlier in Ghazni, seizing rocket-propelled grenades, AK-47s and body armor. Afghan nation is capable of well managing itself, and Iran is ready to expand cooperation with this brotherly state. Iranian Defense Minister Brigadier General Ahmad Wahidi said upon arrival in the capital city on Saturday. He further hoped his visit to Afghanistan will help promote all-out cooperation between Tehran and Kabul. Iran's defense minister arrived in Kabul Saturday morning at the invitation of his counterpart General Abdul Rahim Vardak. It is due to confer with top Afghan officials on issues related to defense cooperation between the two countries. This is the first visit to Afghanistan of an Iranian defense minister following the victory of the 1979 Iranian Revolution, and the first Iranian defense minister's visit in the past 92 years. Federal prosecutors in the United States have dropped charges against Osama bin Laden from attacks spanning more than a decade, according to officials quoted in court papers filed in New York. Friday's move came following the Al-Qaeda leader's death in May, closing a 13-year court case against the mastermind of the September 11, 2001 attacks. The charges included more than 200 counts of criminal activities such as murder, conspiracy to use weapons of mass destruction against civilians, and more, but none were related to the September 11 attacks. The court order came 6 weeks after U.S. commandos killed bin Laden at his hideout in a compound in the military garrison town of Abbottabad, just north of Islamabad, Pakistan. U.S. prosecutors in New York began prosecuting him in June 1998. Pakistan said Friday NATO aircraft attacked one of its military posts in the northwest near the Afghan border, and it had expressed its serious concern to the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad. The incident in the Mohmand tribal region comes after relations between the United States and its ally hit a new low following the killing of Osama bin Laden by U.S. SEALs in the Pakistani garrison town of Abbottabad in May. The Pakistani foreign ministry in a statement said that NATO aircraft intruded around 2.5 kilometers inside Pakistani territory and attacked military posts, adding that Pakistan had conveyed its serious concern to the U.S. Embassy. Local officials in Mohmand said it occurred early Friday and that a few bombs were dropped but no casualties were reported. Pakistan is crucial for the United States in its efforts to stabilize war-ravaged Afghanistan, but relations have been seriously damaged since the killing of Al-Qaeda leader. Syrian troops and gunmen loyal to President Bashar al-Assad stormed a town near the Turkish border, burning houses and arresting 70 people, witnesses said. The local coordination committees, a group that documents anti-government protests, said that troops backed by 6 tanks had entered the Badama town early on Saturday. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton has held talks with Sergei Lavrov in an attempt to break a deadlock over a UN Security Council resolution condemning Syria's crackdown on pro-democracy protesters. Friday's meeting between the U.S. Secretary of State and the Russian Foreign Minister came as the United States considered whether war crimes could be brought against the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad. And that Libyan TV has aired an audio speech from leader Muammar Gaddafi in which he vowed to defeat the NATO alliance trying to dislodge him from Tripoli. The TV station said the speech was from a telephone call from the leader on June 17th. His defiant speech came as his forces and rebels exchanged heavy artillery fire near the western city of Bulliten on Friday. Earlier during the day, at least 10 people were killed and 40 others wounded after forces loyal to Gaddafi shelled the rebel-held city of Misrata in western Libya, a rebel spokesman said. 2 loud blasts meanwhile shocked Libya's capital Tripoli following a series of more distant explosions. And that Morocco's king has announced a series of proposed changes to the country's constitution, including amendments that would strip him of some of his political powers. The changes announced by King Mohammed VI in a live address to the nation on Friday will be put to a referendum on July 1st. The proposed amendments would provide for the strengthening of the authority of the country's prime minister and parliament. The prime minister would become the president of the government and would be able to appoint government officials and would also be able to dissolve parliament, the king announced. However, the king would remain a key power broker in the security, military and religious fields. And that is all for now. Thanks for staying with us.